We are once again working on Steve's 55 Chevy 3100 pickup truck, and we've gone backwards a little bit. So we put the engine transmission in this truck, we welded in a cross member, and then we found some issues on the underside of the cab that needed to be addressed. That was our last video. Those are now fixed. And then we looked at the frame and we said, how can we go backwards with this project? You know, undo all of the work that we've already done. And I think we came up with a pretty good game plan. We have decided to remove the rest of the factory cross members, and Steve has started making boxing plates. So we're basically going to box the frame, and then we're actually going to make like a tubular structure in between the frame rails to basically tie this thing all together. This truck's getting a twin turbo 6-liter, so it's going to make some horsepower, and this factory Chevy 50s frame probably wasn't up to the task. So on this side, you'll see the factory open frame rails, and on this side, you'll see our boxing plate tacked in. So the game plan here is to do the same thing to this side that we've done to that side, finish weld it, and then we're going to bend up some mild steel tubes and really tie this thing all together. So that is the plan for today. Strengthen this thing up, get it ready for that power plant, and then hopefully once that's all done, the cab can go back on the frame and we can get back to making some progress on this truck. So our boxing plates are completely welded in. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this bent cross member and we're going to place this towards the back of the plates. And this is going to serve not only to support the frame, but we're actually going to run our outriggers off the frame to this one point on top. So we measured the center. We know where we have to cut it. We're going to leave ourselves a little bit of room. And then we'll slide it in between, get it level where we want it, and then weld it in. And so this is going to be the first addition to the frame, and then we'll start taking measurements of where we're going to run our outriggers from there. So with our first tube in place, what we're trying to do now is come up with a overall shape and more importantly a length for our first outrigger that's going to come off the frame. So we're using a piece of welding wire to get us in the ballpark. All right, I'm going to take this from the end of the tube just to leave ourselves a little bit of room. So I'll call that 17.5. So 24.5.
36. 36. So what did you have?
17.5.
That's 36.
53.
Yep.
What? Did I add wrong?
No, I was just like 57.
That's all right, we'll cut it short. So now we know a ballpark length. And then Steve went to the metal supply place the other day. And I don't know how long this is, 12 feet, 15 feet. So we'll cut a section out of this and then we'll start working on our bends. So we cut ourselves a piece of pipe, left us a couple inches on either side just for any potential errors. Now to bend the pipe, we're going to be using this Harbor Freight bender. Now we actually have a hydraulic tubing bender for like roll cages, but we don't have the correct size die. One of us didn't want to wait. So we're going to try this. We're actually going to fill the tube with sand, hopefully prevent it from like kinking the pipe itself. But yeah, we got to put a 45-degree bend in one side. So that tube's going to come off the frame somewhere right around here by our cab mount. It's going to 45-degree bend, and then it's going to go straight back, and we're going to tie it into our cross member that we just welded in. All right, so I screwed up the first bend by putting the wrong size die on there, and it ended up crushing the pipe. Then we tried it with the correct size die, and it actually did a pretty good job. It's a little distorted, but overall not bad, and we can both live with it. Steve packed another tube full of sand. He's now just eating a roll of tape. We're going to try this one again with the correct die in there. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to mount a little angle finder to one leg of the pipe, and we'll stop at 22.5 degrees. Hopefully that'll get us to our 45 rather than trying to guess or continually take the pipe out of the die. All right, so I'm going to cut our next piece of tube. I think we finally have the bender figured out.
Probably good.
So it has been almost a week since we worked on this truck, but let me show you where we left off. We continued the boxing plates on this section after the cross member that we welded in. So this frame is pretty much boxed front to back now. So with that stuff done and out of the way, I think we are going to start positioning our tubes and getting ready to weld them in, and I'll show you the jungle gym that we're going to build in between the rails on this truck. Here's what we're working with so far. We have our 2 lower bars in place, flat up against our boxing plates. Took a fair amount of cutting and grinding to get the angles correct because we're doing it with a 4-inch angle grinder. There is a bandsaw 10 feet away, but it's buried under a bunch of stuff, so, you know, better to just eyeball it. But I think we got it pretty close. Steve's happy. I'm happy. So I think we're going to tack this in, and then we can start working on our upper pipes. All right, so I'm going to throw a couple of tacks on this, and then once we get this tacked, we'll double check that the backside didn't move, and we'll move on from there. We have our upper tubes mocked in place. So obviously you can see these are going to get mounted a little bit further back from the lower ones. The reason, or at least our reason behind doing that, was when we eventually run exhaust, if we need to come down at an angle and run the exhaust in between these 2 bars that we just installed, maybe that'll buy us more room. I don't really know. It seemed like a good idea. And our attachment point in the back, all right, we're going to tie these in to our drive shaft loop. So we're going to have to cope both ends of those tubes. So we're going to start working on that now. Probably going to be a measure 30 times cut 31 times situation, but we'll get it figured out. All right, we have our tube notcher set up. Obviously the tube's not in there yet, but this clamp on the side will anchor the pipe into this jaw, put a drill on the end of this, spin the hole saw, and it will fish mouth or cope the end of the tube. So we're going to do both of our upper tubes. That tube is kind of a little bit on an angle, so we're probably gonna have to clean it up a little bit with the hole saw, but this will get us close. So normally, if you're coping one piece of pipe that's the same size as the other one, it'll pretty much cut the end of that pipe off. Because that cross member, the drive shaft loop, is smaller than this actual tube, we pretty much just drilled a hole right in the center of it, but it's fine. We'll cut the end off with the angle grinder and start fitting it up permanently. All right, we have the upper tube coped, tied into the drive shaft loop. Same thing that we did on the bottom, just basically anchored it to this piece of wood running across to the 2 frame rails. And then we have it tied into our boxing plate here. So I'm pretty sure that this one is ready to weld in. I'm going to check it one more time to make sure nothing shifted, but it looks good from here. New day. Actually, it's a new week. And where we left off, I think these bars were tacked in place. They are now fully welded, and we threw some paint on the frame rails just to protect it because this thing did sit for a little while. We had some other stuff going on. But now we get to redo one of the critical pieces that was already done, and the transmission cross member. So originally, before this frame was boxed, it went through to the other side with a 3-bolt flange. Obviously, we cannot use that style anymore. So here's the plan. We borrowed some material from the original cross member, and what we did is we kind of just notched it to where it fits in between these rails right now. But in order to make this frame even stronger than what it already is, we are going to cut and cope tubes, basically to go as uprights in between the 2 bars that we already added. Now, once we have one here, we're going to cope this tube, and then that hopefully should fit right around that upright bar. Well, that's the plan. Anyway, we only have one shot because we only have one transmission cross member, so hopefully we cut it right on the first try, but we'll see what happens. All right, we have our 3 uprights on either side. They're just resting in there right now. They're not positioned, not welded. The next thing that we're going to be doing is coping the transmission cross member that's going to go from this upright across to that upright. And because that bar is bent, we can't actually do it in our tube notcher. So we made some marks and going to do it by hand and hopefully creep up on it. But I'll bring you guys back when hopefully we have the thing fitted up. Alrighty, so we have our transmission cross member coped on either end, and show you guys the fitment here. Obviously our two uprights are still not welded in, so we can kind of get this in on an angle and then move it, but show you how this fits here. Right in position like that, and then we can basically bring this right up, bolt that to the transmission cross member mount, and then we can weld it up. But pretty happy with the fitment on that, and not bad for doing it by hand.
Okay, we got it tacked into place. It's getting dark. Can't really see, but it is tacked. It's not going to move. We made sure that the cross member is square, it's level, it's where it needs to be. So we tacked it in, and we're going to drop the transmission now. And voila, stayed where it's supposed to.
All right, so we have made a decision that we're going to add a fourth upright in between those two rails in the frame. So I'm going to start notching this one now. So the plan for this piece that we just coped is going to be to go basically underneath this drive shaft loop and then meet our lower bar here. So obviously that's what we have so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the grinder with the flap disc and I'm going to start to knock this point off here, and that should allow us to hopefully slide that into place. So I'm just going to take a little off at a time. I don't want to take too much off. We don't want to have to weld the crack of dawn on this thing. Let's see if we can fit this up a little bit better. All right, this one little piece of pipe probably took about 12 linear feet of actual pipe to get right, but we got both sides cut, and you could see how this one, because it's basically getting where this joint is, it's meeting two other pipes. So we had to get a little creative with it, but let me show you what we ended up with. A little hard to see, but the fitment there is pretty good. Small gap there underneath the actual joint, but we didn't knock any of these welds down. But overall, I'm very happy with the fitment. The gaps on the bottom are absolutely perfect. Like I said, there's a small one right in this corner here up top, but that'll be absolutely fine. So I think with that one in, we're going to position the rest of these uprights, these other two in the middle. We'll get those welded in, and then we can start working on our drive shaft loop. All right, we got the rest of our uprights evenly spaced on both sides. We're going to go back now and buzz everything in, finish weld all of this. All right, what we have created here is a makeshift drive shaft out of a piece of angle iron, 2 zip ties, some leftover pipe, and a roll of tape to somewhat simulate our drive shaft diameter. And the reason that we're doing that is we want to make sure that we have clearance on our drive shaft loop before we start coping the tubes for that. This is the loop that we're going to be using. So the idea here is to run that around, cope each end of those uprights, and weld that in place. So now the tape roll that we have on there is approximately like 4.5 inches in diameter. Chances are this truck is not getting over a 3.5 inch diameter drive shaft, but I think to give ourselves a little bit of leeway here, I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to split this drive shaft in the middle and sleeve it. So we're going to just expand this, make it a little bit wider, just to give us a little bit more room. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. Cut the middle, use a piece of pipe, expand it a little bit, weld that up, and then we can focus on notching it to get welded to the upper bar there. All right, so our loop is about 7 inches leg to leg. So I'm going to use a straight edge and a marker. We'll go 3.5 inches right on the center. I'll cut it there, and then we'll work on making a small sleeve. I just want to make sure I'm cutting this in the center. About 7.5 there. Put a quick mark on this. All right, looks good to the old eye alignment. So cut that, sleeve it, and I'll bring this back when we're done. All right, I extended our drive shaft safety loop. Next up, we're going to cope those tubes to actually fit around the top of the drive shaft loop. And the way we're going to do that on this coping tool, there's a small angle wheel on here. All right, I measured the angle of the tubes out there. We're at about 23 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up the nut on the bottom, pivot this outward, and then we can clamp the pipe in there and cope that. There you have it. The frame bracing and restructuring of Sweet Tooth's chassis is completed. Now, we didn't finish weld it because we ran out of shielding gas, and obviously it's not painted yet, but we're going to take care of that off camera. You guys have seen us weld, you've seen us paint, but could not be more happy with how this came out. I think it looks fantastic. It really added a lot of strength to the frame, especially with all of those factory cross members that we cut out to do the 4-link and the Heights front end. That's it. This was a huge undertaking, a lot of work, some stuff that we've never done before. I think we both learned a lot, and I'm happy. I'm glad this worked out for Steve. Ching, if you haven't already, please check out American Nostalgia Garage. You can see this and the rest of Steve's projects. And that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you very soon.